generations, as the
Yeah.
expert said,
Yeah.
because
Yes.
you can't destroy an ideology.
No, you can't. Ideology dissolution comes from within. When people begin to understand what really matters in life. Hello, I'm making this video as a campaign video for Hillary Clinton because I believe that she is the only person who can bring this country back into balance. And Barack Obama is starting a war now, and it will carry on over to the next legislation, and whoever is going to be elected is most likely be blamed, unless it is Barack Obama. If it is Barack Obama in a third term, he will not be blamed. It's because it's already been all set up like that psychologically. But if Hillary Clinton is president in 2016, they will blame it all on her, of course, as they blamed everything on Bill Clinton too. And what she said is the truth. It is very, very important to deal with the global warming issue more than anything else. And we should not be interfering with the Middle East. We should completely withdraw from the Middle East. That's what she would be doing. And would be very difficult once they're involved in a war. But I am sure that she will do everything she can to get a ceasefire and to get everything balanced out and get all the troops and all the people that are there from this country to come back and leave these people alone and let these people manage their own lives and let them handle it the way they want to handle it. And if they want to kill each other, all of those people, then that is what they wish to do. Okay? As long as they don't come here and attack the people here or in Canada or in Europe, as long as they stay among themselves. If they want war, then that is what they choose. Okay? If they want that mentality. But what we need is we need to have peacemaking groups. We have to have the UN go in there. Those kind of people to create peace, to do everything in their power to create peace. And Hillary Clinton is trying to do this and has already done a brilliant job on this during her years as a diplomat. Hillary Clinton did excellent work as Secretary of State, and she will do excellent work as president, better than any president in history. Hillary Clinton has a trust fund to rescue the elephants, to protect the elephants in Africa from being hunted down, and many other things that are standing up for justice for all living beings on Earth. And her daughter is very much involved with that, and her husband, of course, and many of her friends who are all very deeply caring. Hillary Clinton is a very deeply caring person, and she has a very high IQ of 140. That's what I read on the internet. They have a chart where they put people's celebrities' IQs in. And so I don't know if this is correct, the website, but it seems like it is. So Bill Clinton has an IQ of 135, and so does Al Gore. And so Hillary Clinton even scores higher than they do. And that's quite something. And they probably only did one test. They're not like training IQ tests, because you can actually train IQ tests, and then you can get better at it, because it has a very specific system. It has a lot of mathematical questions, and some of them are simpler than they appear at first, and that takes a little bit time away from when we first encounter the question. We think it's more complicated than it really is. So a person who trains in IQ tests, they can get very good at it, and then they can rise up to 200. This happened many times. But I know that Hillary Clinton, Al Gore, and Bill Clinton, they don't train an IQ test. They just do it one time. And so for the first time IQ test, that's very high. That means that they have a higher IQ than most celebrities. Okay. And so that's very important. But what's even more important is that they are extremely knowledgeable, they have expertise, they have already worked as that president and highest advisor, and it was basically as if they had both been president, because they always talk and tell each other and advise each other and so on. They work as two brains, basically. And we can have that again, you know. We can have the Clinton administration back. And people need to get over the sexism thing, and over all of these isms that they have, that they carry on with them from their religions. They need to get rid of the biases. They need to get rid of the ego thing. It's like there were men from the Republican Party that voted for Barack Obama just so that Hillary Clinton wouldn't become president. And those kind of things happened. Hillary Clinton addresses the most burning issue literally, and that is global warming and the wildfires that it causes, and the storms, and the floods, and the sea level rise, and the entire Philippine Islands are being threatened now by the effects of global warming. That paradise that is out there, that I love so much, and all because people have to be offstandish, they have to, because it latches on to their religion. So as soon as something political latches on to the religion and makes that, incorporates that into the religious doctrine, then people will all be riled up and will be all polarized into that direction of going against, you know, whatever the corporations have told the religions to go against. You know, if they tell people that solar panels are bad, then people are going to believe that. When they tell people not to listen to scientific data, then they'll not listen to it. They'll make that a religious issue again. When there's unanimous data that had been calculated in Japan and other countries and in the United States by real scientists in regards to climate shifts and global warming, CO2 emissions, okay, they have the exact same data, then that means that data is correct. But it's being just completely being denied by the religious community. And of course, the corporations have manipulated it that way. Do you think Jesus Christ was denying global warming? Of course not. And if he was here today, he would be the deepest admirer of Hillary Clinton there is. You know, he would be the first one to say, "Go for it." You know, "Go, Hillary." That's what Jesus would say. You know, Jesus would have long hair. He would be wearing baggy clothes. He would be empowering everybody. He would try to empower everybody. And what I have learned about him is that that is what he did in those early days. over 2,000 years ago. He tried to empower everybody. He carried with him the message of the Buddha. And that was buried under rocks and gravel, that information, literally. And then the whole thing was rewritten and rewritten and rewritten by people who wanted power and who wanted to manipulate that particular Jewish philosophy that Jesus Christ established. They wanted to manipulate it into something completely different, so that they can manipulate people. Okay, and that's what happened. That's what we have today. Has nothing to do with what the original teachings of Jesus Christ were all about, or very little, and that's why the whole thing becomes so incredibly contradictory, because there's maybe a few things still in it that were original, and then like love your neighbor, but I don't see it happen. Christians, they do not love their neighbor if the neighbor is from a different religion or has no religion at all. So, but then that gets justified by the new things that have been scribbled into that doctrine later on. And so it's ridiculous. People can just, from this Bible, they can just pick and choose what serves them the best. And then the ones who care, they go straight for the stuff that has to do with love. The last remaining remains from that what Jesus Christ has said. And then there's also conflict within that Christian church itself, of course, between these two groups, the caring and the non-caring. The non-caring are the ones that like to manipulate everything into their selfish, self-centered type of view and purposes. So, and that happens among all kinds of denominations. That happens in the Catholic Church as well as in the evangelical. But currently the Muslim religion is definitely the most violent and the most aggressive and the most oppressive of all religions that we have right now on earth. And it is very sad. They do executions. The Christian church does not executions anymore. They have made that step forward in the right direction, although there are still some little groups somewhere in South America. The Muslim religion is still doing horror, and doing horror back to them or attacking them or doing preemptive striking is not gonna solve anything. It's just gonna give money to Lockheed Martin and Boeing. That's what they want. They want the money, and they also want to do active sonar, which doesn't serve any purpose at all. It just makes them money because they can sell those devices on our tax money. They can sell it to the government, okay? And the military and the Navy have become autonomous to the point where they basically can do anything they want to. And they can just say, we need the tax money, and it will be given to them, and then they can do anything they want to. And they have, of course, they have the corporations in there with both feet that are deeply involved in weapon manufacturing and sonar devices. The whales are bleeding to death internally because of active sonar. During the Clinton administration, these devices were outlawed. He did not allow these devices to be deployed or tested. Okay. As soon as Bush got in, he gave complete permission to use them as widely as they wanted to. Okay. Did not think about it. Bush probably didn't even know what it did, what these devices were doing. I think he was not informed about this at all, what it did to the whales, because if Bush had known what it did to the whales, Now, in retrospect, I think that he would have been against it, but he would not have had enough leverage to go against it, because Dick Cheney was running that country, not George W. Bush. And then Barack Obama gave them even more legislation and let the corporations completely step into the legislation and in the government and completely take over. Like whatever there was still restricted, that was lifted, and they completely took over, and it just completely ran into the absolute 100% corporate direction with everything. She saw what they were doing to her, and during her campaign, she saw that they were trying to slander her wherever they could. They were doing all kinds of things to her. The campaign managers that were infiltrators that were sent out, paid a lot of money to send out to do the managing for her, and then they mismanaged it deliberately so that she would look bad after everything. So that this is unbelievable, the kind of stuff that I even picked up from the footage that was on TV at that time. You know, the kind of like deliberate boos that were sounded into the audience, the boos that weren't even existent, that were sounded in. They did it to some other people too. They gave her clothes that were a little bit, just a little bit too, like the open here, you know, and little bit more like these people they pay attention to these bullshit things, and they know that, and they play with that, you know. So, and then they will show her from a different angle or something, or they will show her like this here, like this. I mean, it really depends on how you show somebody, in which light, you know. You can show more wrinkles or something, you know, like, or you can have a better light where you look a little bit better or whatever, you know. And they'll do anything to make her look bad, you know, in any possible way. They will do grammatical or typos or whatever in whatever text is shown anywhere, and then they will blame it on her. They also did it to John McCain really big time. They did it to John McCain so bad that they turned the whole public against him. And also because John McCain had a couple of really important things that he wanted to do that would have been very good. And not as good as Hillary, but almost on that order, and that's why they completely slandered him into the ground and didn't stand any chance. But that's why they also came up with Barack Obama, cousin to Dick Cheney, who's always been in that family, in that métier, as I call it, you know. And he knew very well what he was doing. He was basically nursed with politics in his life, and I mean, if you are nursed with politics and you got that basically on a golden platter served to you, and you're like constantly flattered, and you're constantly, I mean, about anybody can become a real good speaker, yeah, where they are very, very confident and they know what they're saying, they know what works, and so on. He doesn't even write his own speeches, but he knows how to present them. So he's certainly intelligent too, but he's serving the corporations. The point here is, this man is a corporate machine. He is part of the corporate machine. Okay? And we don't want that anymore. We don't want someone like this who will do anything for the corporations, who will develop a World War III just so that he can have power and money and so on. She will do anything she can to prevent conflicts in the world. Okay? She's a diplomat. She's the opposite of a warmonger. She is not a warmonger, as people try to slander her at. Okay? She's a total diplomat. She wants peace, justice for all living beings. She wants liberation for all of us. She wants all of us to be free. When there is conflict in the Middle East, we need to leave these people alone. Okay? They need to deal with that alone. That is their task, to deal with that on their own and to learn as they go. Eventually they will learn that war is not the answer. But in the meantime, we have pressing problems. We have incredibly horrific problems in the United States. The number one problem is active sonar that was outlawed during the Clinton administration. It will be outlawed again if the Clinton administration is back. And we need to outlaw high-intensity active sonar, which is causing the whales to bleed to death internally. They die gruesome death, and we need to stop this. And Hillary Clinton is the only one who will be able to stop that. Hillary Clinton has what it takes to stop active sonar for good. The corporations do anything they can to stop Hillary Clinton from being elected. And the public needs to become aware of this. You consumers, voters, and so on, you have that leverage to not listen to the corporate slander. And it's what Benjamin Franklin said. Believe nothing that you hear and only half of what you see. And that applies to the corporate slander for good. Okay? Don't believe the corporate slander. And even when you see something, it's most likely manipulated and taken out of context. Research for yourself and research between the lines and read it all. Don't just believe one party or one group or one slander campaign. Okay? Read it all, watch it all, and don't have already a biased. Don't look at it in a biased way. Look at it in an open-minded way. Give Hillary Clinton a chance. That's all I can say here in this video, because if we don't give her a chance, China will take over this country, and then we will not have a democracy anymore. Take care.